to pay my husband's sister. And then I felt so bad about all my other friends. I started hustling free movie tickets so they can all go to the movies. And that made me feel better. But it's like, okay, you said 6 months. So I had looked at the 6-month contract, and my lawyer came to my house, and after 4 days, because my husband had signed because we wanted our child home for the next holiday, because we had already missed Christmas with our daughter, thanks to the doctor, New Year's with our daughter, thanks to this doctor, my husband's birthday with this doctor, birthday with our daughter, excuse me. We had already missed many beautiful holidays that we wanted to share with our daughter, all because of this doctor calling CPS because she had me on drugs, and my daughter was high on drugs because she had to go all the way to this one particular place once she was discharged from the hospital to be detoxed from all the drugs that the doctor not only gave me in the mouth, but shot me up with drugs, okay? So it's like, okay, we signed a 6-month contract, and I had taken them off their word for it. But let me tell you something, guys. From now on, please do not sign anything. If you have a rock solid case, just know that if they put off the first date, they're going to put off many more. So I think that to help other people, do not sign this 6-month contract, because a 6-month contract is really a lie. It's a way of getting 6 more years out of the state because they're dipping into taxpayer dollars. That means they're taking money right out of the taxpayer's pocket. That's why the lower middle class can't make it up to the higher upper class middle care of finances. That's why they can't afford full medical coverage, because I'm telling you, if CPS would stop this, stop making people sign those contracts, that means they can't harass you. Therefore, it's going to save the taxpayer a lot more dollars. I bet you the taxes will not increase if you were not having people that are incompetent working the case. Because the thing that bugged me the most is that we had a lady named Chris Knazer. She often smiled in her face, and she acted like we're doing everything correctly. And this is the weird part. Before we go to court, she'd go, oh, everything's going to be fine. We're just going to drop it. And then she would toss in new documentation accusing us of something else. That's what it's all about. It's a build-up. The more they hang out with you, the more they build it up. And it's a constant go, go, go. Let's try to find something wrong. Let's try not to tell them the whole truth. Because she wrote down on a report something about blind, like putting a mask over someone's face. But I said, well, I get each person in my family a pinata for their birthday, which means you have to put a mask on your face, you have to swing. She writes down on the report, I'm really concerned that she puts blindfolds on all her nephews. But she didn't mention Blind Man's Bluff. She didn't mention Pin the Tail on the Donkey. And she didn't mention that I had a pinata for each family member. Okay? But at the same time, it's like CPS is just looking at the report saying, oh, she puts blindfolds on her nephews and nieces. But the thing is, she doesn't even open her mouth and say, hey, this is why. So the thing that really bugs me is that they look at a little bit of little things that you say, and then they don't put in the big picture. Either they don't have time to type it up, or either they have selective hearing. And this is what I suggest for future references. If a doctor is going to take one's child away from them for future references, then the whole thing should be on tape. Like the whole room should be on tape. It's like the things I said to this doctor at Swedish Hospital, because she asked me questions. She's like, why don't you communicate with your family? I said, they're all criminals. She goes, why didn't you change your name? And then I said, my sister used my name and went to jail numerous amounts of time. And she goes, oh, do you have a place for your child to live? I said, point blank, yes, I do. I put in for a transfer. I have a 2-bedroom apartment ready for my child to move into. Do you have clothes for your child? She writes down, and this is the nurse, she's writing down 1 pair of booties. But it's really funny It's like, since my daughter had been gone, and I do send her gifts each and every month, and I do take the gifts over there physically. I have dropped off 300 tops, 250 tops for my son, because he's going to be growing into these clothes. 100 pair of pants for my son, 80 pair of pants for my daughter, in various sizes, because she's going to grow into it. 30 dresses, but the dresses as she grows into them, you know, 100 pair of shoes, you know, 50 for my son, 50 for my daughter. It's like I have inventory of clothes for my children that I drop off on a monthly basis. When CPS came to my house and they wrote a report on how much clothes I had, then that should have clearly indicated that the hospital wrote information that was fraudulent, because she wrote down 1 pair of booties. But when they looked around and saw the clothes for just 1 child, they wrote down, you know, numerous amount of clothing that was there for my unborn child, who later was born, and I had clothes for her. But the thing is that my manager was willing to come to court because for one reason, the doctor wrote down that I was living with somebody. Well, I didn't live with anybody until I got my manager's permission, which means you have to take in the other person's information to see if they pass to get in to begin with. So my manager was ready to come to court. Wonderful lady. Her name's Judy Carter. She said, oh, I'll come to court because, for one, I know you're not living with anybody because I've known you for 8 years. And matter of fact, you're right across the street from my office, so I know for a fact that you weren't living with anybody. And then she was going to basically verify that I had my rent paid in advance for a 2-bedroom apartment, that I had credited towards where I'm going to move, you know, when I found out I was pregnant. So she was in there to tell the court that, hey, I was prepared for the child. And then when I first went to court, they said, oh, she's not prepared for a child. I brought in my checking account to show how much money I saved up for my daughter. Then I brought in my light bill, showing that my light bill's paid 4 months in advance. Then I brought in my phone bill to show my phone bill is paid 4 months in advance. So that's where I'm trying to understand, oh, she's not prepared for a child. You know, but I can understand why the doctor kept the case going, because she did smash my daughter in the head with forceps, and my daughter was born addicted to drugs, and then the medications that they had in combinations caused her to have delays. So I can understand why she just kind of wanted the case to keep dragging on and on, at the same time ignoring my phone calls, not returning my phone calls, because I'm saying to her, hey, I can prove everything. And it's like, I did go out and prove everything, but the problem is, it's like these people look down and they say, okay, she's telling the truth. She's willing to have the people to come in and verify that she's telling the truth. So it's like, if you know that I'm telling the truth, why can't you just leave me alone? Why can't you allow me to be a parent, be relaxed about it, and enjoy it, instead of feeling like every day is my last day with my child? Because that's the way you make people feel. It's like, hey, let me make sure I take my child to the beach. Let me take my child to the zoo. Let me take my child, you know, out to the museum. Let me take my child down, you know, to see all the sea animals, because I got to make memories, because you're going to take my child away. You know, it's like, what I didn't like was being bothered for 3 years. I kept having this broad who kept saying the case is going to end, that she's going to leave us alone, come to my house in 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, all the way up to 2006. That's what I don't like, is being forced to be around people that I have no respect for,